When we carefully follow the prophetic sequence of Revelation 13, the description of the second beast points to a very specific power. John says, "Then I saw another beast coming up out of the earth. This beast rises after the first beast receives its deadly wound." Many historic Protestant and Adventist interpreters identify the first beast as the medieval papal system that ruled for 1,260 years and received its deadly wound in 1798 when Pope Pius VI was taken captive by Napoleon's general. Around that same period of history, another nation was rising quietly in a new land, the United States of America. This timing fits the prophecy remarkably well. Why does the prophecy say this beast rises from the earth? John specifically says the beast rises out of the earth rather than from the sea. In Bible prophecy, waters symbolize multitudes of peoples, nations, and kingdoms, while the earth represents a more sparsely populated area. Unlike the kingdoms of Europe that rose through wars and political struggles among crowded nations, America arose in a relatively new territory separated from the old world powers. It developed quietly and rapidly instead of conquering the world through ancient imperial warfare. This is one reason many interpreters connect the prophecy to America. Why does this beast have two horns like a lamb? John says the beast had two horns like a lamb. A lamb symbolizes youthfulness, gentleness, and even Christ-like appearance. Many Adventist interpreters understand these two horns to represent civil liberty and religious liberty, the very principles upon which America was founded. Millions fled to America seeking freedom from religious persecution in Europe. The nation became known for freedom of worship, freedom of speech, and separation of church and state. Compared to the persecuting kingdoms of Europe, America appeared lamb-like and peaceful in its beginnings. Why does the prophecy say it speaks like a dragon? Although the beast looks like a lamb, John suddenly says, "But it spoke like a dragon." In prophecy, speaking represents laws, government authority, and official action. The dragon in Revelation symbolizes Satan working through earthly powers. Book of Revelation 12:9. This means the same power that begins with freedom eventually uses coercive authority. The prophecy warns that America, despite its peaceful and liberty-loving beginnings, will one day act contrary to its original principles. Freedom of conscience will gradually give way to enforced worship and religious pressure. How does this beast support the first beast? Revelation says the second beast exercises all the authority of the first beast before him and causes the earth to worship the first beast. The first beast represents a religious political power that enforced worship during the medieval period. The second beast therefore acts in support of that system. Instead of protecting liberty completely, it eventually helps restore religious authority and influence to the first beast. This is why Revelation later speaks about enforced worship, the image of the beast, and economic pressure upon those who refuse to comply. What is the image of the beast? The prophecy says the second beast tells the inhabitants of the earth to make an image to the beast. An image is a likeness or copy. The image of the beast therefore represents a system that copies the methods of the first beast, especially the union of religion and government power. During the Middle Ages, church and state united to enforce religious authority through law. Revelation warns that a similar system will appear again in the last days. When religion begins controlling political power and worship becomes enforced through legislation, prophecy says the image of the beast is being formed. Why does this power have worldwide influence? John says this beast causes the earth and them which dwell therein to follow its influence. America became one of the most powerful nations in world history economically, militarily, politically, technologically and culturally. No modern nation matches the global reach and influence described in Revelation 13 as closely as the United States. Its decisions often affect the entire world. This worldwide influence fits the prophetic description of the second beast remarkably well. What does the mark of the beast represent? The mark of the beast represents allegiance and submission to the authority of the beast system. Revelation presents the final crisis as a worship issue. One group receives God's seal because they remain loyal to him, while another receives the mark of the beast because they submit to human authority above divine authority. The issue is not merely politics or economics alone. It is ultimately about worship, obedience, and loyalty. Why does the prophecy include economic pressure? Revelation says that no one may buy or sell except the one who has the mark. This reveals that economic pressure will become a major tool used to enforce compliance. When truth cannot be defeated spiritually, pressure is applied materially. Survival, employment, commerce, and participation in society become connected with worship and allegiance. This demonstrates how serious the final conflict becomes in the last days. Does this prophecy mean God hates America? Absolutely not. Bible prophecy is not about hatred toward nations or people. God has faithful children in every country, including America. The warning of Revelation concerns systems and prophetic developments, not condemnation of individuals. The prophecy simply reveals that a nation can begin with righteous principles and later abandon them under pressure. A lamb-like power can eventually speak like a dragon. What is the main message of this prophecy? The central message of Revelation 13 is a call to remain faithful to Christ no matter what pressures arise in the world. Earthly kingdoms will rise and fall, but God's kingdom will stand forever. The prophecy warns believers not to be deceived by appearances alone. A power may appear gentle outwardly while eventually enforcing false worship through authority and law. God's people are called to stand with truth even when obedience becomes costly.